Hi, I'm Donna Stiteler, and I'm the Cuenca correspondent for International Living, and I was given some questions that you wanted to ask the expert, and the first question is it safe in Cuenca? Well, obviously, or hopefully obviously, I am a female, and I go out all the time alone, and I really am not afraid at all. I walk on the river trails, I walk into town and do my shopping, go to the mercados, and I totally feel safe. I'm happy to say that there's virtually no violence here. Guns are pretty much illegal, so the only kind of crime you're going to get here is more petty theft, which is very common in developing countries or just about everywhere. And I'm going to show you really quick how I protect myself, and I suggest this, especially when you're visiting and you're just out here. I do carry a backpack, and I have really anything that I don't mind getting stolen in here, but I need to take, like a hat, raincoat, umbrella, water bottle. It's leaking, and for anything that I feel like is more important, I actually have a little bag here that I can fit in here, and I keep a little wallet that has cash, money, copy of my cedula, copy of my passport, only copies, and I grab one debit card. A lot of people just like to carry cash, and then I have my keys, sunglasses, anything I don't want stolen, even cookies. And that's basically a great way to just maintain control. You put this on your shoulder if you're in a crowded mercado, or anything that you want to keep close to you, or on a bus even. So that's just some tips. Okay, here's a good question. Is it safe to travel in Cuenca? Well, I say yes. I know you hear all these crazy stories about pulling ropes over the road or getting kidnapped, but really, I don't even know where that comes from. Really, why I feel it's safe is rented cars, like driven from city to city, and you have to practice some things just to make sure you're secure, but I've never had any problems. First thing that you want to remember, though, this is the Andes. Cuenca is up there, and so it really, you should plan your drive to where you get there in one day and before dusk, because at night it's harder to see. There's traffic going zip zap, and so that's the main caution I would have. And always make sure you carry the proper paperwork if you rented the car. A lot of people here don't own cars. You don't necessarily need one to travel around. A lot of people will travel, well, if you're going to a city nearby, maybe a bus. It costs under $3. Very safe, but I wouldn't put stuff on under your seat storage or above your head storage. Just pack light and keep things in your backpack, because that way you can ensure nobody can snap it. If you're taking a bus from a big city to a big city, I would not consider putting my luggage under the outside storage, because it gets opened up and down a lot, and so you don't want to have your stuff stolen by chance. The other thing is, I personally like to do is I like to hire a private driver. There's plenty of them. It's not that expensive, and they always know the extra interesting places to go or have great stories. And so, do I think it's safe to travel? Absolutely. Done it a lot, and just stay away from nighttime driving. Is drug use allowed in Cuenca? Good question. I would say for the most part, drugs are like the lightweight kind of drugs, or not illegal, like for instance marijuana, and they're even considering it's on the table to make it legal. So small amounts legal. As far as the overall position of the government, they're pretty strict here because they border Peru and Colombia, and they've been very determined to not be a center for drug dealing. And so consequently, they have a lot of attention on the borders, and you don't see, like I said, rampant drug use on the streets. Although, it's just like anywhere else, there is going to be some. Is prostitution legal? All right, I'm sure they're just asking for safety reasons. Yes, but it's not that kind of prostitution that you see in the movies where there's street walkers out on the street and, they're hustling people and cars driving by. No, downtown is, you're not going to see that. The legal position of the government is that you must be registered and tested, and the prostitution mainly takes place outside of town, from what I hear. And there's a couple of hotels along the highway, and other than that, I'm sure there's some that goes on, but it's just not prevalent. What areas would you avoid in Cuenca? Well, I think the one area I'd stay away from is a neighborhood called La Merced, which is known for selling narcotics and really barrios that are way far away from the city, if you're not familiar with Cuenca. I'd stick mainly to the downtown radius. There's really relatively no crime, but again, stick to the rules. Don't walk alone at night in dark alleyways. The same things you do in the States. There's only one reason that I don't go out at night, and that's because I'm lazy. Most of my friends go to concerts and symphonies, and there's all kinds of restaurants and bars to go to, and I do go occasionally, but I'm very cautious, and the kinds of things I do is, if it's 6:30, it's dusk, and you're in a taxi. I never walk alone at night. I also make sure that I have a friend with me if I'm walking around downtown, and I don't go down dark streets or places that I feel like I would be unsafe, like it's not open to the public. You need to keep yourself in the public, but it's so safe downtown, and there's so much to do downtown. It's not a worry.